So in this lab, we're going to be doing an STS page. First, we need to prepare our lysates, and we're going to do it in dilutions in order to visualize the decrease in protein concentration. So we're going to have a one-time, so no dilution. We're going to do it in half and dilute it in a quarter. And then we're also going to have a control that we know what it's supposed to be. So first, we're going to prepare our dilutions. So we're going to open up our test tubes here, and we're going to start by putting them with the PBS, which is the diluent. So in the case of the one, we don't need. In the case of the two, we're going to need 10 microliters. So we're going to grab our 10 microliter pipette, set it to 10 microliters. We're going to grab our PBS. Now that we've grabbed 10, we can close and make sure we're adding it to the 1/2. Then we can change it to 15 for the 1/4. And finally, for the control, we're going to use 19. Control. And there we go. And now we have our diluent, I guess, for everything. Now we're going to add the protein, and this is in different microliters depending. So we're going to start with the control this time. 1 microliter for the control. Grab your smaller pipette tips. This is highly concentrated, so we're grabbing a small amount of it. There you go, just about 1. You can close that. Put it up and down just a bit, a couple of times, just to make sure everything's unloaded. And we're done with our control for the time being. We'll switch back to the bigger pipetter. No, not this one. And we're going to add our protein concentration. So for the one, we're going to start with 20, and after that we're going to half and quarter it as we go along. So we're grab from our lysate. We're going to go down to 10. There we go. Grab our lysate. If it touches something else, it's better to remove it. You don't want any contaminants. It shouldn't be too bad. Close this off. This is 1/2. Finally, for the 1/4, we're gonna go to 5 microliters. Make sure you have 1/4. Yep. and discard. And now you're going to add the loading dye to all of them. And that's just going to be 20 microliters, which is pretty much the working volume of all the containers or all Eppendorf tubes right now. So 20 microliters. I'm going to be adding 2x loading dye. I'm going to go to 20. I'm just going to add. So we're going to open all these up. We're going to grab our loading dye. We're just going to start working left to right here. Oh, did not get enough. If that happens, just make sure that there's no bubbles. You want exactly 20 microliters. There you go. Sometimes the loading dye can be finicky, so just watch out for that. There you go. That's done. You don't want to carry protein over, so best practice is to discard your pipette tip. Let's do the 1/2. That's done. Let's do the 1/4 now. And we're running out of loading dye, so we'll grab a new bottle, but that should be all right. Find the control. All right. Now that we've prepared all the samples, we'll just put everything that we need to back on ice. Close this up. And we need to warm these up and heat them for 5 minutes to denature the proteins. So we're just going to move this to the side and bring out a hot plate that's been pre-warmed to 92 degrees. So you just want to slot these in. And as soon as you do, you want to start a timer for 5 minutes. And come back when they're done. Alright, since our samples are now finished, we've taken them off the hot plate and they should be good to go. So we've grabbed our 2 ladders and we're going to start assembling our SDS page. So first we have this clamp, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to start putting your gels here. Since we're only using 1 gel, we're going to block one side to make sure that there's an inner chamber. So we're going to load one side already with, let's try to center it. It should lock. Additionally, we're also going to use our own precast gel. So this is the gel we're going to be using. So we're going to pull it out. Be gentle with it because it's still wet from the storage solution. And as you notice, there's a short side and a long side. You want to put the short plate on the inside. So you're going to want to make sure the short plate is on the inside. So you're going to want to load it kind of like almost in reverse. Press them together. Lock one side, lock the other side, and you should be good to go. So you're going to start putting it in here. So now that we've made the assembly, we're just going to fill out the inner chamber here with our buffer. Just want to fill it to right above the wells. You make sure the wells are fully submerged in the buffer. There you are. Maybe just a bit more. Again, just to make sure now it's overflowing, that means we're too much. Then you want to also remove your comb, and with this one I find you want to do it gently, or wiggle it left to right, so you want to hold the assembly. You don't want to be too rough with it. Gently and straight up. Now you can discard that. And as you can see, just add a bit more to make sure you're over the small plates. you can see your wells. And now what you want to do is you want to start loading. You can pick whatever side you want, whether well 1, well 2. As long as your samples are inside one of the wells, you're fine. So I'm going to start off with loading the ladder. So we're going to make sure it's set to 20, or for the ladder we're going to use 5. Samples will be loaded at 20. So we're going to take your sample. You can use these special loading, which are narrower and can breach. So you want to get a little lower. You want to kind of spot where the well is. You can see where your well went. I discard that. And you want to repeat the similar thing for all the other samples. So you'll just do the rest with the other samples. With the samples, you'll be loading 20 microliters, not 5 microliters as with the ladder. So you set your pipette to 20, and then you can just put them in any wells, preferably right next to the ladder. And make sure you mark which wells are with what. So now that all the samples have been poured, we're going to finish this setup. So you're going to fill the rest of the well, the outside, not the inner chamber, up to the 2 gel line. If you're running 4 gels, you're going to fill to the 4 gel line. I'm just going to use the same buffer. So we have a bunch more of this buffer prepared. I'm just going to slowly fill it up to the 2 gel line. And as an extra step, we're just going to take the pipettes and we're just going to top off the top, make sure all the wells are covered before we let this run. I'm just gonna... So you can use your pipette or you can use a mini pipette. Anything that won't disturb the wells, you don't want to pour directly over because that could unload your protein out of the wells. Just a bit more, just to make sure we're fully covered. That should be good enough, so we're going to dispose of that. We're going to move these to the side. And now that we're done, we're going to start running this. We have to attach it to the power supply. So you're first going to take the cover, and you're going to cover. Make sure black to black, red to red. Make sure the anodes go inside. You'll hear a little snap once you're done. Then you're going to go to your power supply over here. Just plug it in, black to black, red to red. And for this experiment, we're going to run it at 200 volts, so you're going to up the voltage here. to about 200 volts. And once you're set, make sure everything is connected well. Go ahead and click run. If you give it a moment, you'll start seeing bubbles. Right. If you see here, you can see bubbles, and when you see bubbles, you know your gel is working and it's running. And we're going to set a timer for 40 minutes or until the gel's reached the bottom. At that point, you have to stop it.